Alright, basketball fans, the intensity of the NBA playoffs can create dramatic swings in momentum. And this Eastern Conference semifinals series between the Boston Celtics and the New York Knicks is providing that in historic fashion. The defending champion Celtics are now facing a stunning 0-2 deficit after suffering another heartbreaking loss in Game 2. Marked by a collapse eerily similar to the series opener. On Wednesday night, the New York Knicks defeated the Boston Celtics 91-90 in Game 2 of their Eastern Conference semifinals series. This victory puts the Knicks in a commanding position, taking a 2-0 lead in the series as it now shifts to Madison Square Garden in New York for Game 3 on Saturday. The narrative of Game 2 was almost a mirror image of Game 1, creating a sense of unbelievable déjà vu for the Celtics and their fans. For the second consecutive game, Boston built a significant lead, pushing their advantage to a substantial 20 points in the third quarter, holding a 73-53 lead with just over 3 minutes remaining in the period. At that moment, their win probability reportedly stood at a staggering 99%. However, the New York Knicks, showing incredible resilience and a refusal to quit, mounted another stunning comeback. While the first game saw the Celtics settle for too many three-pointers during their collapse, Game 2 felt different tactically but ended the same way. The Celtics reportedly became antsy, as described by Jalen Brown, turning the ball over and allowing the Knicks to chip away at the lead, closing the third quarter on an 8-0 run and cutting the deficit to a more manageable number heading into the fourth. The fourth quarter and the final moments were filled with tension. Despite struggling for much of the night, Jalen Brunson, the NBA's clutch player of the year, stepped up in the critical moments. After the Knicks battled back to make it a one-point game, Brunson drew a foul with just 12.7 seconds left and calmly sank both free throws to give New York their first lead of the entire game. 91-90. The Celtics had one final opportunity to win the game. Head coach Joe Mazzulla chose not to call a timeout, instead having the team run a play that had worked earlier. They looked to get Jayson Tatum an opportunity, but the Knicks' defense was ready. Tatum was met by a tough defensive effort from Mitchell Robinson and OG Anunoby, and as he attempted to make a move, Mikal Bridges stepped in, just as he did with a game-sealing steal on Jaylen Brown at the end of Game 1. Bridges came up with a crucial defensive play, stripping the ball away from Tatum before he could get a shot off as time expired, securing the dramatic one-point victory for the Knicks. The Celtics' struggles in Game 2 were compounded by another poor shooting performance. After shooting historically bad from three-point range in Game 1, they again connected on just 10 of their 40 attempts from beyond the arc. Jayson Tatum had a particularly rough night scoring, finishing with only 13 points on 19 shots. Their offensive issues were highlighted by a significant stretch in the fourth quarter where the team went for over 8 minutes without making a field goal. Injury and health also played a role. Kristaps Porziņģis attempted to play for Boston despite a non-COVID illness but was clearly impacted, missing all 4 of his shots in limited minutes before being sidelined again. While Jrue Holiday did return for the Celtics after missing Game 1, his defensive efforts and timely plays weren't enough to swing the outcome. For the Knicks, Josh Hart led the scoring with 23 points, and Karl Anthony Towns contributed 21 points and 17 rebounds, providing crucial support for Jalen Brunson's late-game heroics and Mikal Bridges' clutch defense. Facing an 0-2 deficit is already a tough position in the NBA playoffs. Historically, teams down 0-2 in a best-of-7 series only come back to win about 7% of the time. But doing so after blowing consecutive 20-point leads on your home court is a monumental and historically rare mental challenge. Despite the frustrating nature of the losses, the Celtics players reportedly maintained a sense of calm in the locker room. Jaylen Brown acknowledged the back-to-back collapses were inexcusable, but stressed the team would learn from it and respond. Sitting near a Phil Jackson quote about the need to perform successful acts repeatedly, Brown stated, "What's done is done. We've got to make sure we're ready to come out for Game 3. Kristaps Porziņģis projected confidence, suggesting the pressure is now off the Celtics and perhaps on the Knicks, stating, "We were expected to win, so for us to be in this hole right now, with our backs against the wall, we have nothing to lose." Brown echoed this defiance, saying, Just like we're down 0-2. We can tie this thing back up. Coach Joe Mazzulla's message was simple and direct. We don't really have a choice. Emphasizing the need for the defending champions to find a way to perform and win. In conclusion, the New York Knicks have taken a surprising and commanding 2-0 series led over the Boston Celtics in their Eastern Conference semifinals, winning Game 2 by a score of 91-90. The win followed another dramatic comeback by the Knicks after the Celtics blew a 20-point lead, marking a historic and heartbreaking sequence for Boston. Despite the deficit and their struggles, the Celtics are projecting a calm determination as the series heads to Madison Square Garden, understanding the immense challenge they face to turn things around against a resilient Knicks team that has now twice stunned them on their home court. For the second consecutive game, the Boston Celtics suffered a stunning collapse against the New York Knicks, blowing a significant lead and falling 91-90 in Game 2 of their Eastern Conference semifinals series on Wednesday night. With the loss, the defending champions now find themselves in a daunting 0-2 hole heading back to New York. The Celtics appeared to be in control, building a 20-point lead in the third quarter, holding a 73-53 advantage with just over 3 minutes remaining in the period. At that point, according to one analysis, Boston had a 99% win probability. However, just like in Game 1, the Knicks mounted a furious comeback, fueled by clutch play from stars like Jalen Brunson, who hit the game-winning free throws, and key contributions from Mikal, who sealed the win with a steal on the final possession. The Knicks chipped away at the deficit. The Celtics' offense sputtered, enduring a miserable shooting performance, particularly in the fourth quarter where they went over 8 minutes without a field goal. After the game, the mood among the Celtics was a mix of frustration and a determined calm. Jaylen Brown described blowing 2 straight 20-point leads as inexcusable, but stressed that the team would learn and respond. He was seen sitting silently at his locker for minutes after the game, perhaps contemplating the stunning turn of events. Kristaps Porziņģis acknowledged the difficult situation, stating, quote, "Nobody feels sorry for us," but also suggested that being down 0-2 with their backs against the wall takes some pressure off, as they now have nothing to lose. Head coach Joe Mazzulla lamented the team's execution, particularly on the final play where Jayson Tatum was unable to get a shot off after Mazzulla opted not to call a timeout. Tatum himself had a tough shooting night, finishing with just 13 points on 19 shots. Facing a 0-2 deficit is a familiar, though unwelcome, situation for the Celtics, who famously trailed the Miami Heat 0-3 in the 2023 Eastern Conference Finals before forcing a Game 7. However, blowing consecutive 20-point leads in playoff games is an unprecedented challenge they must mentally overcome. Despite the dire circumstances and the historical odds stacked against teams down 0-2, there were murmurs of resilience among Celtics staff, emphasizing that it's a 7-game series and there will be twists and turns. As Jaylen Brown put it, quote, "What's done is done. Just like we're down 0-2. We can tie this thing back up. Now, the Celtics must regroup and find a way to win on the road in Game 3 at Madison Square Garden if they hope to keep their championship hopes alive."